Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Hyperconscious Podcast. Alan, what is hyperconscious?
Once you understand why something is the way that it is, now you have the power to change it. Great conversations with great people and great questions are the keys to the kingdom of unlocking your consciousness.
Every single action that you do starts as a thought. When you control the way you think, you will control the way you act, and you will control the way you live. That is hyperconscious. Ladies and gentlemen, the Hyperconscious Podcast is proudly sponsored by our friend and mentor, David Meltzer of the Playbook Podcast. He was kind enough to join us on episode 144 and 135.
Folks, it has become Kevin and I's mission in life to help you realize that the life of your dreams is right on the other side of you becoming the greatest version of yourself. Let us help you do that.
I rarely do these things twice in such a short amount of time, but you guys impress me. I believe in people that provide value and of our service. You two guys are on your way to huge fulfillment, purpose, and profitability, and I look forward to helping you both.
We appreciate that more than you know. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another very special, as always, episode of the Hyperconscious Podcast. We hope you enjoyed our latest episode where Alan and I sat down with the amazing Matt Staver. He is for sure going to be an ally for life. Today, for episode number 259, we are going to do a 5-minute clinic on leveling up your effectiveness.
So before leveling up your effectiveness,
Not bad,
I
right?
thought it was just going to be leveling
It
up.
is.
That's even
It
better.
is. I'm probably going to name it leveling up. But I think we're going to talk about effectiveness.
We are.
Specifically.
We are. So before we do that, though, I want you to go to the hyperconsciouspodcast.com.
Do it.
Click on join hashtag Hyperconscious Nation. Folks, you're going to be entered into the private Facebook group to be in of a group of like-minded individuals that are all chasing their goals and dreams.
Kid can't even talk.
I know. Little stutter on them.
Yeah. Happens, man. Also, later in the week, so for Friday, we're going to read a long entry from Alessandro, who is a buddy of ours who is in Hyperconscious Nation, and he did an online training program that he told us about and how much being in the group helped him. It's a whole thing. Also, January 25th, UMass Lowell Convention Center, Top Notch Live. Alan and I will be speaking.
Oh, yeah.
Joanna DePena will be speaking. Our headliner, our keynote is the one and only Brant Pinvidic.
Thank you, Brent.
Thank you, Brant. Our good friend Mark Metry will be speaking. We also have 3 other speakers that we will be releasing or revealing very soon. Guys, everybody makes these New Year's resolutions, and they last for all of 2 weeks. We want to help you make 2020 the best year of your life. Get in a room with like-minded individuals. They're going to keep you accountable. You are going to have these relationships for life, just like Alan and I do, and this will change your life, but only if your butt is in the seat. So join us. Buy one, get one, $97. It's a bargain at twice the price.
Strong work,
Thank
man.
you, man.
Strong work.
Thanks, man.
So we also have a couple other things.
Oh,
So we have vendor
quickly.
tables. We have 3 speaker slots available. We're looking
that
for
already.
a photographer, a videographer. We also are looking for potential volunteers as well. Please reach out to Kevin or myself on Instagram. That's at NeverQuitKid
That's
for
me.
Kevin.
That's me.
Or at alazarus88 for moi.
All right, so let's do this.
Leveling up.
So the reason we're doing this is because Alan texted me today and said, hey, man, any chance we can not do anything today?
Right.
And I was like, I'd love to not do anything, but no, we have to, unfortunately.
Right.
But he basically said and owned it and said, I just have to level up my effectiveness. And that's why we are doing this episode. So tell the listeners a little bit about what you're going through and how you kind of turn that into leveling up.
So I'm already very excited to do this. So I think that, I've said this before, but I'm going to say it again. I think life is a constant progression of expansion and refocus. So I think you get momentum in your life by consistent daily disciplines. We talk about our system of success a lot.
Yes.
So I call it paving a new runway. So Kevin and myself and the Hyperconscious team, Amy and Tiff, shout out to you guys.
You guys are the best.
We literally talked about paving a new runway and learning how to get momentum. So we were trying to get on more other shows. We were trying to get more speeches. And that I told them originally that Our biggest problem right now is trying to get more speeches and on more shows. Pretty soon, our biggest challenge is going to be how do we execute on all of these things? Here's the cool part. When you get momentum, all of a sudden opportunities, picture a plane going into the wind, and the wind is adversity. When you start paving a new runway, you gain momentum. When you gain momentum, you hit adversities, challenges. Then you start to rise. Now, as the plane takes off in this expansion phase, you hit a new atmosphere, a new level, leveling up. Now, at that level, more opportunities come to you. Here's the problem. Then you start to try new opportunities, and then with new comes growing pains, and then you start to lose the focus that got you the new runway to begin with. So then all of a sudden, you start to crash, and then you start to notice that crash, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual. And so the runway that you paved now is ineffective, and you have to pave a new one to get even higher. The cool part is each expansion phase brings new opportunities, which brings new growth and new skill sets. Then you usually put too much on your plate, which brings growing pains. You start to fall. Then if you recognize that falling and you realize you're no longer leveling up, then you refocus on what's most essential to then get to an even higher level, which then brings even more opportunities. The key is to stay hyper-conscious of this whole process.
My goodness, that was a lot of deep stuff.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah, it was a lot of deep stuff. So I think one of the things, too, usually we tell like a little story about what we're going through. Now, I think for me, I just want to put out there that making the current things that you're doing not only habits, but the easiest version of habits is unbelievably important. So if you haven't, not mastered, but if you haven't really, really, really gotten good at the things that you're doing, there's a good chance, I always say something's going to fall.
Right.
More often than not, if you're adding some things in without subtracting, something is going to be subtracted by default.
Right.
Make sure you're crystal clear on, and again, the only way to be crystal clear on these things is to measure them. So how do you know, if you're listening or if you're watching this, how do you know if you're quote-unquote succeeding with your habits? How do you know if you're succeeding at the top leverage points? How do you know if you're accomplishing your priorities? You have to find a way to make sure that you're measuring these things.
In an effort to bring this to an emotional level and also just to tell a story like you mentioned quickly. So a lot of new has come into our lives.
Yes.
We're doing Top Notch Live 2020, January 25th, as you know. That is requiring more of us than we thought. Also, the last expansion phase brought us to a new level, and then I actually am recently met someone and am now having a wonderful intimate partner. So that adds to my life. And that's a wonderful thing. But that's also a lot of new. And so now it's just an adjustment period to figure out what that new runway is now that I want this other person in my life in the most magnificent ways. So if you're out there and you feel stagnant, the focus should be what are the things I should focus on building momentum in? If you're out there and you know you're in an expansion phase and you're like, basically facing challenges and leveling up, then just understand that next crash is coming. And try to anticipate it and do something about it in advance.
Also, make sure you understand, okay. I always say don't stop doing, the dance ends when you stop doing what got you there, right? Do what got you to the dance. I think a lot of people, this is why leveling up is so hard. You will have done habits for a year, and you will finally be the version of yourself that is able to attract the success, whether that's financial, intimate partners, the body, whatever it is.
Right.
And then the second you get the thing that you feel like you've been working so hard for, you stop doing the things that got you there.
Right.
And then everything burns down.
Yep.
Right? So make sure you understand how much you value each thing. I know for a long time, the second I got a partner, I stopped doing all the things that got me there.
Right.
Right? So make sure that when you're leveling up, you're not just leveling up in one arena and letting everything else fall, because it will catch up eventually and you'll have to rebuild momentum. So I just wanted to add that as well.
And the last thing is I would never have been able to attract this partner prior to this point in my life because of how incredible she is. And that's all because of what I was doing years prior.
Yes.
So remember, you're always in prep work. You're preparing to be the person who can attract the wonderful dreams that you want and the dream person.
My 10-second blip would be, do not worry about doing less. Focus on leveling up so you can do better.
Strong work.
That's it? You got nothing?
You want me to do a 10-second
Yeah,
blip?
if you could do one quickly.
For leveling up, okay. Life is a constant progression of expansion and refocus. every expansion phase will bring new persons, places, things, and ideas. Make sure you refocus on the right ones to get even higher.
That was pretty close to 10 seconds as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was good. I
Thank
like
you,
that.
man.
I like
Appreciate
that.
it. I'm a words of affirmation guy. So.
I know, yeah, I know.
Thank you.
My hair looks nice. I know that we did this one a little bit different, but I think a lot of people, and the New Year's are coming too, so you guys are setting New Year's resolutions. Make sure the habits that you have now are built in.
Right.
Because if they're not, they're going to fall, and you might end up saving more money, but you might end up not going to the gym. And if you're in the room with us, we'll make sure all these habits lock in. Good?
I'm good.
You
That
ready
was
to get out
fire.
of here?
That was really
Ready
good.
to get out of here?
I'm ready to get out of here.
Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you enjoyed this episode. Up next, we are going to do a small talks, or you're going to hear a small talks on intuition and how to use it. You'll hear a lot of people say, I felt that. I knew that was going to happen. I just went with my gut. I went with my intuition. What is intuition? How do you use it? And why are two bros talking about it?
That is going to be absolute fire. A couple bros talking about intuition.
Couple bros
That's what we'll call
just
it.
broing out. Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you enjoyed, and we will talk to you on the next one.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.